It's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualized May, Asexual Life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality and all things asexual. I share my own asexual journey in order to help you in yours. I'm Sandra Bellamy, author of Asexual Perspectives, founder of Asexualized Academy, and founder of asexualized.com. And in today's final Asexual Awareness Week video, this is day 7's video, I'm going to be talking about asexual denial and asexual blessings. So we're kind of going to have a mixed bag here of positive and negative sort of opposing things that are going on with asexuality at the moment. So I hope you're going to love today's show. Hi Michael, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up as we go along as well. And I have got a really bad chest infection, so I have to let you know I've had some really bad coughing fits today. And one of them included the fact that I felt I couldn't breathe very well. So I do have to let you know this is live as usual. On the, it's a live stream. So if I do start majorly coughing, it's live, so I can't stop it, you know, because literally it was hard to even get my breath earlier. So I'm really sorry in advance if that happens. I'll try not to let it, but you know, if my throat goes, my throat goes, and it's, you know what I mean, trying to breathe the most important thing. So yeah, in this episode I want to discuss asexual denial and asexual blessings. It's probably not so widely known in the asexual community, well, not really talked about. There's a lot of people that actually are in asexual denial, and what I mean by this is there are some people that I come into contact with, some who used to define them as themselves as asexual and don't anymore, but clearly to me they do still fit the definition. And there's other people that are new to asexuality and they in denial about it, like they don't want to believe it. They you know, for some reason they don't want to believe it. It's probably, excuse me, got something in my eye. You know, it's almost like, you know, there's something wrong with being asexual. You know, there's a stigma around it. But, you know, this isn't just coming from the outer world. This is kind of coming from the person within themselves. Hi, Heather. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. Really appreciate that. So, you know, sadly, you can get a lot of people who claim to be asexual and not really. They're fakers. They're basically lying about their asexuality. It's not just me that notices this. It's other people. I've had other people message me as well. So there are the asexual scammers, but there are also people that are in denial about their asexuality. You know, they don't. So asexuality, the full definition of asexuality is the lack of sexual attraction and or little to no interest in sexual activities. So the main thing that's promoted throughout the whole asexual community is the fact of the lack of sexual attraction. You know, that's usually what defines someone as being asexual or not. But if you look at the Wikipedia definition, it is and or little to no interest in sexual activities. Thus, theoretically, you can get someone who still experiences some sexual attraction, but not enough to want to act on it, which is where the grey asexual spectrum comes in, and the demi-sexual end of the asexual spectrum. So a grey asexual is someone who does experience sexual attraction, but either doesn't experience enough to want to actually act on it, i.e. have sex, or who experiences it but only under limited, rare or specific circumstances. So the more grey and the demi end of the asexual spectrum is seen as not so pure asexual. So all the ones that don't experience sexual attraction in the main are classed as, you know, definitely asexual. The ones that experience some sexual attraction are classed as the grey asexuals, and a demisexual falls under the grey asexual spectrum category of asexual spectrum. So asexuality is a spectrum. It goes from like the aromantic people, aromantic asexuals who don't experience romantic attraction, don't experience sexual attraction. Then you kind of got the romantics in the middle This is how I easily remember it. And then you've got the more grey end of the asexual spectrum and the demisexuals before the sexual spectrum starts. And then people just want sex, basically, to different degrees, because there's obviously a sexual spectrum within the people that are sexual. So, you know, people, people don't really kind of understand all the full spectrum thing. But it's really important to know that I've met some people who say that they don't think, you know, that I've met very few people, but, you know, it's kind of like they don't feel they're asexual anymore. But the thing is they haven't actually experienced sexual attraction. They still don't experience it when they're saying this. And I'm like, okay, you don't experience sexual attraction, but you don't think you're asexual anymore. And I'm like, what's the reason for that? Do you know what I mean? Because it just seems bizarre. If they're not experiencing sexual attraction, they don't have the need, urge, or want for partnered sexual intercourse. Really, by the definition, they are asexual, you know? And it seems that some people are in denial. Some people are new to asexuality. And I see it a lot on asexual dating sites. And kind of the asexual dating sites tend to be social networks a lot of the time as well. So ace-book.net, so ace-book.net, I call it. It's very much a social network and a dating site. And there's a lot of people on there that will go, oh, you know, I've known about being asexual for years, but it's the first time I've come to terms with it. Or it's the first time I've actually, you know, gone forward with it and, you know, actually said it's me. And some of these people, excuse me, some of these people seem to have known they're asexual for a lot of years and been in denial about it. You know, and it's important to recognise that some of these people are admitting in a way that they were in denial, because they're on this site and they're saying, you know, for years I hadn't come to terms with it. For years I was just like, thought I was, but I didn't actually take any action. You know, and some people say, oh, I've arrived here, you know, like, because I knew I was asexual a long time ago, but I didn't want to admit it, you know? And other people, they've come on the asexual site years ago, left it, and then come back and said, well, I realise, you know, I definitely am. So it's kind of like I was, but I went off it, you know, this site, but now I'm back on it again. And, you know, I'm ready to like face up to my asexuality, as it were. So you've got quite a few people, I think, that are in denial. And I do understand this, because although when I discovered I was asexual in 2014, I wasn't in denial. I was really happy when I understood, like, oh my goodness, this is me. There's other people in the world that don't want sex, that can live, love, and be happy without sex. It's amazing. And perhaps I could get a asexual boyfriend in the future, where I was pretty much giving up on relationships. And, you know, I was, excuse me, going to be resigning myself to the fact I was going to be single forever, without a hope in heck of ever finding love without sex. But, you know, that has changed since that moment. But there is something that some people know about, but not that many people know about. And that is, years ago, I did a blog, and I still do that blog to this day. It's quirkybooks.wordpress.com. It's the first blog I ever started in my life. So I blog on quirkybooks.wordpress.com, beatredundancyblues.wordpress.com, and asexualized.com. So most people don't even know that I have 3 blogs, and that's posting content usually out every week. My asexualized.com blog, unfortunately, I'm behind posting blog posts on that blog because I've been sick. It's not gone as according to plan, and my newsletter though that I have, I've been doing that every day for, well, there's been a newsletter throughout the whole of Asexual Awareness Week, which I didn't do last year. So I've focused more on the people that are subscribed to my newsletter this year than I have. I did a blog post recently, like just before Asexual Awareness Week started, but I haven't done any more since. So, you know, I want to get stuck back in there and do more of them. But the point where I'm going with this is most people don't even realise I have 3 blogs. Now, the quirkybooks.wordpress.com blog was my blog I started years ago. And that is a blog to do with my writing, because, you know, writing's my hugest passion. I started it just to find my writer's voice and to help other people with their writing through writing tips and stuff. I still do that, but I also talk about my quirky life, and I talk about asexuality sometimes on there as well and things. My Beat Redundancy Blues is, I do a lot of inspirational, motivational posts on there. And obviously asexualized.com, I do a lot of asexual posts on there. But this quirkybooks.wordpress.com blog I've had for 8 years. 8 years this November the 8th. It will be my 8th year anniversary. So that is a lot of years to be blogging. And the thing is years ago, I used to be following this guy who's actually a musician nowadays. He does music far more than he does anything else. And he did a blog, and part of the blog was based on sexual education. So sex ed, it was really educational. It wasn't like, oh, you know, everyone's having sex. It was, the way it was written out was very educational, a bit like this channel, you know. And he actually suggested to me, I don't even know how many years this was before I found out it was actually asexual, you know, in 2014. I don't know when it was, but he actually suggested the word asexual to me. I didn't know what asexual meant. I'd never heard of it before. He didn't explain it to me. He just said, I think you're asexual, or you might be asexual. And I'm like, no, I just don't associate sex with love and just like kissing. That's all. And that's what I said to him. He didn't turn around and say to me, well, sounds like an asexual person. He just said, oh, okay, and let it go. And I didn't Google it back then. It was quite a long time ago. I didn't Google it back then. I don't even think I used the internet that much, apart from for blogging. I wasn't big on the internet. I didn't have a Facebook page or anything. Like, it wasn't until 2012 that I even got Facebook, and this must have been prior to 2012, I think. Because I was really scared about even going on Facebook. Look at me now. I have this channel. It's so funny. I was so scared. 2012, you know, I was so, not even, sorry, it wasn't 2012, it was 2011 that I was scared. But 2012, I think, is when I started my main media. So I had a job back in 2011 up until October, and I worked for a very well-known electrical company. And I actually took a year out. So I think 2012 was when I started all my social media. That's correct. But 2011 was when I remember I was being scared because I was talking to the supervisor, and I took a year out because I left there and took a year out and did education. I've got a teacher training qualification and an information advice and guidance diploma, and I did computer qualifications as well, Adobe stuff. So I did a lot that year, packed loads into 1 year. And it was just an incredible year for me. But yeah, I was so scared. 2011, I'm like, oh, I want to do this stuff, but I'm like, I don't know what to do, because I don't want to be on social media because I'm so scared that people are going to see me, and there's all this stuff going on, and I don't want to. But if I need to do this business stuff, and I had business ideas back then, I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do it unless I do social media, because everyone has to use social media. I have to be on Facebook, and I was avoiding Facebook and stuff, you know. And so I was like really, really shy back then of social media and wouldn't do anything and have anything to do with it. And it was really weird. But yeah, so this guy that told me, you know, that I might be asexual back then, I didn't even pay any attention to it. I didn't Google it. I didn't think of looking it up. I don't think there would have been as much about it then. But, you know, I didn't do anything with it. And so there was an opportunity there where I could have found out I was asexual like years ago, but I didn't. I didn't think about it. I didn't see it. My brain sometimes is very great, but other times it doesn't compute things. It takes like a while to things to set in. So someone could say something to me, and sometimes I'm acting on it straight away, and other times it's one of those things that goes in my brain and it just kind of like goes out again. It doesn't register to do something about it. I can even come across things nowadays, other stuff in my life, and something will happen and I'll be like, yeah, I need to do that, and then all of a sudden I'll just forget to do it, and years later I'm like, why didn't I ever do that? But this I found it alien. So years ago I actually found the concept, when he didn't even tell me the concept, I just found the word asexual weird, because obviously as a person who didn't like sex, when you use the word asexual, even when I was new to 2014 when I found out I was asexual, the fact that it's got the word asexual, you know, as in, you know, it sounds like I'm a sexual person, really put me off the word asexual, you know. So I can understand the people that are in denial to a certain extent. You know, it's like if you find out this thing that's foreign to you, that you've never heard of before, that, you know, and you can't make sense of it very easily in the beginning, it can be really, really difficult. And maybe people are just at different life stages to be able to take that information in, process it, and come to terms with it, you know. But it was completely different when I found it in 2014. As soon as I found it out and I googled "I love kissing but not sex," and it came up with asexuality, I was well away, going on all the forums. In 3 weeks time, I knew that I was definitely asexual and knew where I was comfortable fitting on the spectrum, you know. So I'm like, oh, this is great, you know. And I didn't start my YouTube channel till October 2015, which was like, you know, about a year and a half later. So no, not a year. Yeah, a year and a half late, because I found out about March 2014. So yeah, it was, you know, asexuality is a journey, but there are so many people denial. Like, I know now I would never be in denial, but I guess people's circumstances are very different. But I wondered if that guy, I think, had explained it to me, the guy, you know, that was doing the sexual education on the blog, when he first mentioned the word to me. I wonder if he'd expanded on what that meant, if it wouldn't have seemed so alien to me and I would have recognised it, you know. Because back then, like I said, I don't think I even googled anything, so it wasn't like instinctive for me to look anything like that up. I just thought, it's a weird word, what the heck's that, you know, especially when I don't like sex and you know, it sounds a sexual word. So yeah, but obviously you can tell back then when I said that you know, I don't associate, you know, I'm like, no, I don't associate sex with love, and I still love the kissing. You know, you could tell straight away back then, looking back on it now, that was definitely asexual back then. You know, I've been asexual since I've been born, but I just didn't realise it. You know, there's signs of me, my asexuality back at 6 years old. There's signs of my nudity repulsion before I was 2 years old. You know, so I've been asexual all my life, but never realised it. And then because in my case, I experienced high arousal levels, I mistook that for sexual attraction for so many years. I thought I was heterosexual. I really did. I thought I was a heterosexual that just didn't like sex, to be honest, and wasn't bothered about it. But to all intents and purposes, I thought I was heterosexual because I still experienced arousal. But I didn't know that. See, it's only since I've had my own asexual journey that I've been able to separate the difference between sexual arousal, well, I don't even like the word sexual, arousal and sexual attraction, you know, being able to see the differences. By the way, if you're liking this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. So, so when I was able, as an asexual person, to see the difference, and I've been able to put this into practice with sexual guys I've kissed since being asexual. The guy last year who I dated for 2 months and kissed, and obviously the last date I had, which was just over a week ago, you know, I don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever, yet I can still feel feelings of arousal. So I know now that none of that before was sexual attraction. But at the time, I didn't know that. I didn't know the difference. I didn't even know that arousal was separate to sexual attraction. I thought it was all part and parcel of the same thing. I thought sexual desire, sexual arousal, you know, all that type of thing. I thought, you know, sexual behaviour was the same thing. I thought it was all together. I know now, since my asexual journey started, that they can be all different things, you know. Sexual attraction basically is a need, urge, or want for partnered sexual intercourse. And I know that it's an energy, because when I'm around sexual guys, the majority of the time I can feel this sexual energy from them, you know, the sexual guys. And, you know, so it is an energy. I mean, anything in life's an energy form, as it is anyway. You know, there's molecules, atoms. So saying it's a form of energy is a bit common sense. But I mean, you know, many people don't understand what it is, but I can feel the energy. It's a obviously I can feel that it's different to other types of energy. It's like a pulling energy. Yeah, if that makes sense. So, you know, it's, you know, and then arousal, you can get aroused, you know, like through, you know, some people get aroused at different stages. Some people get aroused through physical stimuli, you know, touching of private bits, in other words. It doesn't even have to be private bits. You could like kiss someone's neck, or, you know, give them a massage and stuff like that. That could easily get, you know, that could get them aroused. Different people respond to different things, but it's a physical stimuli. That's what I'm saying. Myself, I can get aroused without any physical stimuli whatsoever. I don't have to have anything. I can just get aroused by thinking of the word aroused. Just by talking about it and thinking about it, my body can be aroused. It's just involuntary to me. And that can be like, I think it's a gift in a way, because I would rather be like that than be aroused over someone. Personally, I don't like the idea of being aroused over someone. It makes me feel a bit, I don't want to be aroused over someone. That's personal to me. There's lots of people. There's people who are asexual that do watch porn to masturbate to relieve sexual feelings. But I'm not into porn. I don't do stuff like that. To me, porn's disgusting, the whole idea of it. And I wouldn't ever want to like force myself to be aroused in that way. I can do that myself if I want to make myself aroused, you know. I can touch myself, but I don't need to be touch anyway. My mind does a lot. And sadly, which I don't like, is I can see images I don't want to, say in my Twitter feed, and say they're like scantily clad women or with barely nothing on. You know, that sets off arousal in my body, whereas I actually can't stand the female body. I hate nudity. It's disgusting. But it doesn't make me feel that way about the person I'm seeing. It makes me feel that way about myself, that I want to touch myself. So this is kind of like, but I didn't know all this stuff before I found out I was asexual. I wouldn't even talk about this stuff years ago. This was like really private stuff. I wouldn't even think about this because I wouldn't even know. I didn't even separate them. I just thought I was heterosexual and I really wasn't into sex. I didn't really like it, but my ex was good at it, and he was as nice as time was with him, because he was abusive the rest of the time. So I kind of liked that time with him for that reason. But I just as much have not, you know, I just as well have not done it. The only thing I thought about is if I did have to put you know, like how often I would like to do it. It was like, you know, I would want to, the most I'd want to do it was 3 times a year, basically once every four months. But I mean, I'd rather not. But I was thinking, you know, if he wanted that, and, you know, if I really, you know, was putting my mind to like how many times would you actually want to do that, as in for his sake, really, it was like once every well, it's 3 times a year, really, because it's once every 4 months. But, you know, I suppose 4 times I might have been able to do a year. But you know what I mean? It's just like, it's not really what I want to be doing. But that's something I just thought, because I asked myself while I was with him, like, if someone asked you a question, how often do you do want it? It'd be like, well, probably once every 4 months, 3 or 4 months at the most. And you know what I mean? It's like, it's not something I really want to do. I'm not really into it. But, do you know what I mean? It's, yeah. So, and then sexual desire. This is a tricky one. So sexual desire. Someone can desire the sex itself despite not being sexually attracted to someone. For me, sexual desire and sexual attraction would always go hand in hand, because personally I couldn't be desiring sex with someone I wasn't sexually attracted to. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't be desiring sex with someone I wasn't aesthetically attracted to, because I can't be like that with kissing. Do you know what I mean? So I already know that about myself. Even though I don't have sexual attraction or sexual desire, I know they go hand in hand for me, because I can't imagine them separate. I can't, not for me anyway. You know, I can't even kiss someone I'm not aesthetically attracted to. It's just like, it's gross idea to me. It's like kissing a mate or something. It's something I don't do. You know what I mean? So, but, so you can get sexual desire, which is like quite common, you know, like in nightclubs, when someone's come out when someone's at a nightclub, say a bloke, for example. It's not always blokes, sometimes it's women. You know, it's like, oh, have I pulled tonight? You know, let's pull tonight. It doesn't matter who they're going to have sex with. They just want the sex. I still personally find it, from a personal point of view, find it a bit hard to believe they don't experience a sexual attraction with something like that in some way, shape or form, because, you know, I find it hard to separate them personally. But I do get the fact that some people have just got such a high sex drive. And, you know, I've come across people that have said, like, blokes said, like the heterosexual, for example, I dated last year. He said to me, do you know some guys have sex with each other even though they aren't gay, because they got such a strong sex drive, and they'd rather have that with each other than not at all. And personally, from my own personal point of view, I don't really get it. Professionally, I have to understand it. It's not the first time I've heard of that. I've seen someone else who's an activist for asexuality say it's true. So yeah, personally, I just, it's like, oh, but I mean, you see, from my point of view, I can't kiss someone I'm not aesthetically attracted to. I've got strong kissing desire, strong kissing needs, like I really, really need it, but it's not to the point where I could do it with anyone. I just can't. I just can't. I don't love I don't love the kissing. I love kissing in and of itself, but I don't love it to that I could separate it from a guy who I wasn't attracted to. I just could never do that. To me, it just like seems bizarre from my personal point of view, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, my asexual one, so far. And I think asexuality is a journey, but I do think there are some people that are in denial that it clearly, if they're not interested in any sex with anyone and they don't actually need it, get the urge for it or want it, clearly, why wouldn't they be asexual? Because the definition of is lack of sexual attraction. You don't get the need, urge or want for partnered sexual intercourse. If you're not looking at any guy, girl or anyone on the planet thinking I wouldn't mind having sex with you, and do you know what I mean? You are asexual to all intents and purposes by the definition. And I'm guessing it's because, the world as we know it is very sexualized. And so this puts a lot of pressure on people who, in my case, I seem to lack all attraction, not just sexual and romantic, but aesthetically and sensual as well. Yeah, I think, Michael, that's quite common, though, for some aromantics. I did a video a long time ago about aromantics. And I said they don't get attracted to anything or anyone. And I do know since that some aromantics can experience some aesthetic attraction. But to be honest, you're not the only one, because I've had people in the past that I've known like you. They just don't have any attraction, and they don't even want to touch anyone. They don't want to hug anyone or cuddle anyone or any physical contact like that. It's more of a complete body distance, like, hi, how you doing? That's, with their friends, they don't need to hug their friends. They don't need to touch their friends in any way. It's just like, hanging, if they see their friends, it's just like got space between you all the time. So I think, Michael, that's perfectly fine, because you're aromantic asexual, aromantic to the core, or aromantic as some people call it. The majority of people say aromantic, but I've always said aromantic, and I just like saying aromantic. It might be because I'm a romantic person, and for me it's easier to say aromantic so I don't get them confused in my head. But and I've always said it, so I thought, oh, why not just be different and say it anyway? Romantic. So I just like it. But so yeah, I think it's I think a reason why a lot of people are in denial as well is because of the sort of stigma around it. 'Cause we live in such a highly sexualized society that people are kind of afraid or ashamed to be who they are. And I want to really stop this, I really do, because someone posted in one of my groups yesterday this video, and this person was really mad at this video. I haven't even watched the video yet. I've not been very well. I haven't, seen every single post, every single video, but she said that it was making her angry because of some of the content, because they were suggesting that asexuality is a result of watching. This is what she said. She took from the video that the person was implying that asexuality stems from people watching too much porn. So I didn't really understand it. And there was other people that commented going, no, they didn't mean that. They meant this. But, I just turned around the post and said, I haven't even watched the video, but you do not need someone else to validate your asexuality. I don't care what anyone says about asexuality. See, I couldn't care less. I see a video on YouTube all the time saying asexuality is not a real orientation. I've never clicked on it because it's clickbait. They want you to click it, so I don't click it. I'm not going to rise to the occasion. I'm not going to give them the view or the click. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve my time. They don't deserve my energy. They don't deserve my effort. I'm really not interested, So, I've never looked at it yet. I don't want to look at it, so I just don't watch it, and I think there's some other stuff online. I just don't get involved. It's not important in my life because I don't need someone, and no one no one should need someone to validate their asexuality. You know, you don't get bisexuals or gays going, oh, please validate me. Please say gay's real. Do you know what I mean? You don't get that type of thing, you know? It's ridiculous. So why isn't asexual sexual orientation? Is everyone trying to worry about what people think of them, what people are saying, you know? You don't need outside validation to know who you truly are. I couldn't care less if the whole world said they didn't like asexuality or didn't agree with it. I'm asexual, I exist, I'm here. So I know it exists, even if I was the only person, you know? I'm me, I'm who I am. I can't change it, I can't become someone I'm not, do you know what I mean? Whatever anyone says, whether they like it or not, I am who I am. And to be quite honest, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that someone who doesn't like sex is so shunned by, seemingly to be shunned by society anyway. I mean, when I was brought up in a family that was, my parents are still with me. I love them to bits. You know, I've been brought up in, I guess, a bit of a conservative type of style family. You know, one that's quite, like closed about private stuff. But, you know, they luckily for me, I brought up that it's okay to be gay and stuff like that, you know, because there was two gays who lived, a gay couple who lived not far from where I was brought up for the majority of my life. So I've been quite fortunate in that respect. I know not everyone is, but my parents aren't asexual at all. But you know what I mean? They understand me so much better. But, you know, other people don't have to validate their orientation. So why are we validating ours? I mean, why is it all people in the asexual community hiding and frightened? I mean, I get why they are, because that's why I want to change society. I want to really make an impact so that basically I want to help change the world where asexuality is concerned, so that no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule anymore, so that asexuality is well known as a sexual orientation throughout the globe. But, you know, you have to understand that you don't need validation. You don't need someone to say, yes, it's real. You don't, because all you have to do, so long as you know the truth that you're asexual, all you have to do is just stand in your beautiful aura and know that you are asexual. And this is why I'm going to discuss the blessings of asexuality in a moment, because people don't focus on that. All they focus is the negativity from outside sources. And, you know, and going back to what I was saying about my parents being brought up in sort of a more conservative style of family, they were very good in the sense of I was being brought up that gay's fine, but, you know, sex was always sort of a taboo topic to talk about. You know, I wasn't meant to talk to my parents about it, which is a bit weird. But, you know, they accepted my asexuality pretty much straight away by a second phone call. It was. I did it by phone. I didn't even know it was called coming out. I'm just like, I was glad to find asexuality, you know. But also, I was brought up to not have sex before marriage, even though I have had sex in the past and I wasn't married. I actually disagree with that advice. I think you should, if you're going to have sex, I think you should always have sex with someone before you get married. I know all the people that are Christians and religious will hate me for saying that, and that's fine. You know, I wouldn't expect you to do that or think it's right for you to do that because that goes against your religion. That's not what I'm saying. I just personally think that for compatibility of physicality, if you don't have sex with a person, if you're going to have sex and you're intersex and you're going to get married, into sex, not intersex, but into sex. You know, if you're having sex, want sex, if you don't know the compatibility of you physically having that with another person, then you marry them. It's like marrying someone and not really understanding about them. My comments fill again. I'm going to add a 3 to the word that triggered the filter. Okay. You know, what I'm saying is that I was brought up, no sex before marriage, right? I was brought up, it's wrong to have sex outside of marriage. So, and I think, you know, there are still quite a lot of religions and people that have this, you know, as part of their culture, their background or religion, although I personally don't agree with that philosophy, because I think you've got to see you're compatible with that person in every way possible before you marry them. That includes the physicality, which is a really, you know, if you are heterosexual, bisexual, pansexual, homosexual. If you're a sexual person and you can't even find that out before marriage, that you're sexually compatible with them, and then you have sex after marriage and you find out it's not all it's cracked up to be, you don't like it, you don't get on, you don't like the way they touch your body, you know, it makes you cringe or something. I'm assuming it was filtered. I don't know, Michael. Sorry. I mean, it's good I have some sort of filter on this because obviously, you know, I didn't see a comment anyway, because obviously, you know, I could have all sexuals come and say what the heck they want on here and start writing disgusting language, which I don't think my followers appreciate. But the only way I can take the filter, get a filter removed, is by allowing that, if you know what I mean. The grammar, sex in movies, why they glamorize asexual? Why can't they put awareness out there in a realistic way? Yeah, exactly, Heather. You know, there should be more awareness, much more awareness. We're making strides, which is really good. But I was going back to the fact that there are, you know, there are religions, there are families, you know, there are people that don't agree with sex before marriage. So if that's the case, and there's so many people still in the world like that, why is asexuality seen as strange and weird? It should be cherished, because it'd be like, all right, we're not having sex before marriage, but goodness me, look at these people. They don't want sex at all. They don't like it. They don't need it. Isn't that fabulous? Do you know what I mean? Isn't it fabulous? Maybe it's your filters, Michael. Maybe you've got something stopping you from posting certain stuff. Because if you've got a block on your end, there might be something to do with your own filters. So, you know, so what I'm saying is, basically, you know, all the people that don't agree with sex before marriage and stuff like this, they should be celebrating the fact there's loads of asexuals in the world, you know, because it's like, you know, if they've got, say they've got children, right, they'll be happy that one more. I really appreciate that. And so, you know, so what I'm trying to say is they should be really, really grateful that, you know, there's people like us in the world that don't actually want sex, that don't actually need sex, and that, you know, can be, you know, uphold their values all the time, not just before marriage. Do you see what I'm saying? Or not just a part of a religion or culture. You know, we can do that all the time. The stream's cutting out. Okay, it's not cutting out my end. I've not even got a lag on it today. Sorry, Michael. There's no lag at my end. There's no, like, my voice, and I'm looking at my face now on there, and there's no lag even. Really, really sorry. I'm going to try and speed it up then. So basically what I'm saying is there's a lot of blessings for people who have you know, for people who are asexual. There's a lot of blessings, and I'm shocked that society stigmatizes or doesn't understand asexuality, or is, you know, there's a lot of like negativity towards asexuals, when, you know, we're more safe for people to be around, because we're not going to sexually harass someone, sexually molest someone, you know what I mean, sexually take advantage of someone, and that's really positive, you know, and that's one of the blessings of asexuality. Can you please check for top chat on your screen and switch it to live chat? I can't, Michael, there's no chat on my screen. It's just literally 4 people watching, 1 thumbs up, and stuff at the bottom. I don't do anything. I never touch the buttons. I don't even know what they do. Chat viewing options, show live chat messages, non-hide. I've just got show live chat messages. That's all I've got. And it's got effects, so I can put effects on my face, which I don't want to do. And then I can switch the camera around. And I've got share or mute microphone. I haven't got anything else. I haven't got chat. Your messages just flash up. I can't do anything. You know, I can't even type in chat myself. You know, it's got show live chat messages. That's all it's got. I can't do anything with it, my end, unfortunately. Sorry about that. So yeah, so anyway, the blessings of asexuality. So asexuality is absolutely amazing. Why is it amazing? Because we are 1% of the entire population. A recorded 1%, mind you. I think there's probably more. That means 1 in every 100 people are asexual, which is quite a lot if you think about when you go to a concert, if you think about when you walk in the high street. Then I'll have to fiddle with my message more until you're able to read it. Okay, Michael, go for it. So, So basically, the blessings are 1% of the population, which does mean 1 in every 100 theoretically is asexual. I think there's probably more in hiding. So this means that if you do go in the city, say you're just walking in a city centre, say you're going to a concert, you can be quite confident there is probably another asexual in, if you're with 200 people and you're the only other person in the room, you can be quite confident there's probably another asexual somewhere in there lingering. Do you know what I mean? In the background somewhere. I mean, obviously asexuals don't tend to hang around at bars. I've seen a few videos and comments that say ace doesn't exist. I don't think they can invalidate me because I've never desired it with anyone. So ace is an accurate term to describe me. Got it. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I don't take any notice of anyone that says asexuality is not real or invalid. I pay no attention to it. I can't be bothered. It's a waste of my life, waste of my energy. I couldn't care less. Yeah, finally, Michael. It's weird. I don't know why that was filtered out. It's really weird. But yeah, so I don't, I know Facebook filters the word asexual. I can't put the word asexual in a lot of stuff. I can in my groups, but not in the HTTP title. Facebook doesn't recognise it. It won't allow it. It's a bit silly. If I spell it with a C instead of AS, asexualized, and I could do it, but I can't do it any other way. In the HTTP addresses, but not in the actual groups. It's fine within the group itself. Anyway, I need to get on with the rest of the blessing. So 1% of the population is asexual. This means 1 in every 100 people we meet is likely to be asexual. And also, being 1% of the population is amazing because it's a YouTube censoring thing. Okay, it's amazing because it's just like means we're so unique. I personally have always liked to be different. I've never ever liked to be like anyone else. I don't want to be like anyone else. I don't want to live and die, and I was like everyone else. What's the point in that? You need to, in my opinion, you need to make your mark on the world as an individual. There are thousands and thousands of people that love making babies, right? I'm not one of them, but there's thousands and thousands of people that do, and this includes some asexuals that do. A lot of people, even people I've talked to, not just asexual, but a lot of people I've talked to, they want to carry on the human race, the species, right? And it's kind of like they're on a conveyor belt. This is going to get a bit far out for you thinking wise now, right? But it's kind of like you're born in this world. It's a traditional scenario, isn't it? That's more common in sexualized lives, in sexuals' lives. So, you're born and you're told basically from a young age, you have marriage, you have kids, and then you have a job. Most people have a 9-to-5 job, and then you die basically, and you have a few friends and family in the process that you get to hang out with if you're lucky and done good deeds. And anyway, so do you know what I mean? What I'm saying is it's very like planned, and really, people believe they should carry on the species, and to me that's very like, is that all I'm here for? I'm sorry, but I'm not here for that. Really not. I'm here to leave lasting legacy in my own right, so I'm remembered for helping others when I'm dead in a big way, not to give birth and pass on my genes. It's, yes, it's a bit sad in a way because I'm an only child. I'm the last one of my family. So, it has been, I've had some sad conversations with my parents lately, like I'm the last one in line, right? So I won't be carrying on the family. So after I've gone, there will be no, like, kind of my mum and dad's sort of side. There will be nothing. I'll still have cousins, there's still cousins and stuff that I've got. But there will be no, I hate the species is going on just fine considering there's a global overpopulation problem. I think the species is going on fine. Yeah, I've heard about a global overpopulation problem as well, Michael. But, what I'm saying is, not everyone's here to be baby machines. And I think with asexuals, we have the ability to think and see the world completely different to what the majority see. Because there's some asexuals still want kids, right? There's quite a lot that still do. So, that's up to them, and I respect people who do want to do that. And it's nice if they can tell their children about asexuality. That's a good thing if they're going to do that, because they can spread, like, for future generations about asexuality. That's a good and positive thing. But, in general, we can see things differently. We can see that we don't have to be on this conveyor belt of sex, marriage and kids. Sex, marriage and kids keep the bloodline going. I mean, if I was to think the only thing I'm on this planet for is to keep the bloodline going, I'm sorry, but I would be like, oh my goodness me. You know what I mean? I wouldn't see the point. So that's a bit like, personally, I wouldn't see the point to life if that's all I was doing. Personally, the whole thing to me seems like it's some scientific experiment where you're all shoved on Earth, and it's like, okay, so how can you cope and keep the species going? You know what I mean? It's almost like you're in one of these sci-fi films where you're just in a pod, and you're just a little being that's just here to keep the species alive. It is very clinical and very cold to me, and very like, we're just like here as one big experiment on the planet Earth, I mean, we are one big experiment away, because obviously we're here to try and get on in life, try and maintain, flourish in our individuality, flourish with our own opinions, attitudes, and things about life anyway. So it kind of is one big experiment, I think, for everyone. But do you know what I mean? It's kind of like you're having physical experiments as well, like to keep the bloodline going. I just think it's really weird. But that's my personal opinion. Probably many people don't share it. But, the thing I'm trying to say is that with asexuals, we are blessed to be able to see the world very, very differently, because even the asexuals that have children, I think they can still see, I think they still probably come from a slightly different angle. And, there's lots of asexuals that can see that, we don't need to keep the bloodline going. We shouldn't be here for that purpose. If we want to have children, fair enough, but that shouldn't be our ultimate purpose for being on this planet, And I think a lot of people don't think like that. I mean, the number of sexuals that get married, and like 2 months later, the woman's pregnant, it's almost like they get married to have kids. Because, within the confines of marriage, it's allowed. But other times it's not, And it's like, sometimes I think, are you marrying the person, or are you just marrying them? You never know what kind of kids you're going to get. Yeah. But I kind of like, yeah, Heather. But, I kind of, I'm not into babies at all, personally. I always worked out, from 15 years old, I've never wanted children. I always worked out back then, if I ever wanted kids, if I ever changed my mind, I would adopt. And it would be like a 4 or 5 year old that's, further up in the sort of age, like it's already school age, primary school age. And I'd choose which one I wanted to give it a loving home. And I think when you choose a child, it's much better, because you're picking that one as something special, You're giving it a special life and love. But I'm not into children myself. And I don't want that. So anyway, but I think we have the ability to see things that other people can't see. And I think this goes for our ability to see sexuality in a different way, And this is a real major, amazing thing, We can see sexuality in a completely different light. Like, I especially feel blessed that I'm able to see both the sexual side and the asexual side, because I've been in heterosexual relationships for half my life. I've got a very, very good knowledge and foundation of how sexuals work, of sort of a lot of their needs, a lot of their instincts, a lot of a lot of how they are, their feelings, But I have to say, being asexual and knowing that I'm asexual has opened up a completely different world in my mind. Are they like a box of chocolates? That's funny, Michael. Kids, you never know which one you're going to get. If you didn't see the live chat, Michael posted, our kids like a box of chocolates. You never know which one you're going to get. It's from a film. Saying from a film, but not with children. Usually. So yeah, we're blessed as asexuals to be able to see sexuality a different way. I know that I can, because of course of the work I do helping asexuals as well. I've been doing this YouTube channel since 2015, October 15th, 2015, I think it was. And I've been doing live streams all the time. That, I kind of like have got a really good overview, I think, of sexuals and asexuals. And it kind of like, I know for me personally, and for other people that do a lot of activism work, oh yeah, Forrest Gump it's from, a lot of people that do activism work, you're able to see that human sexuality is a huge spectrum in and of itself. You've got the asexual spectrum followed by the sexual spectrum. Now, when I was in heterosexual relationships, before I started doing this channel, before I started knowing about asexuality, I just used to think, obviously, I didn't know about asexuality, so I used to know there was gays and lesbians and bisexuals. I used to just think everything was on the sexual spectrum, you know, and I didn't even really think about sexual as being a spectrum. I just thought sexual was everyone was sexual, and you know, and that's the way it was in life. And I didn't even think about it being a spectrum. I didn't even think about, you know, so there's these sexuals that want sex once a day or 3 times a day, and these sexuals that might want it 2 times a month. You know what I mean? I didn't even see the sexual spectrum. So it's kind of opened my eyes. And also, I wasn't so comfortable with people who cross-dress and I guess change genders. And since I've had my own asexual journey, I become a lot more comfortable with those types of people. And so I think asexuality is a blessing as well, because it opens your perspective up on life. It opens your mind to new possibilities and to other people. I think it makes you a more loving, caring and accepting person, probably both of yourself and of other people as well that are different from you. And I just think that's really, really good. I think it is good to develop and grow yourself. And I think being asexual opens you up to doing that more, far more than anything, really, because sexuality is a huge topic. It covers, you know, it affects relationships, it affects friendships, it affects business, you know. Excuse me. Because say you're in a business, say you're a woman and you're in business and you're a woman who's asexual, right? You get a lot of guys that start flirting with you because they think it's part of business, how they're going to get the sale. Well, for someone who's asexual, they'll either not really react to it at all and think, what the heck are they doing? It's weird. Or they'll be like, you know, thinking, God, you're trying to sexually harass me. You know, it's a completely different level of thinking. And also, you know, sexual adverts don't tend to work on asexuals because we're not motivated by sex. So there's no reason for us to go out and buy that lipstick so that we can go and have a steamy night in the bedroom and kiss whatever all over him. Do you know what I mean? Kiss our lips all over his bits or whatever. And we, you know what I mean? This lipstick will get you the hot guy you want. And this lipstick's so hot because it's so red and fiery, just like your night of passion will be. Do you know what I mean? All that type of rubbishy stuff. You know, it doesn't work on us. It's not interesting. I mean, I don't even wear makeup a lot of the time, as you've probably noticed. I'm not interested. I don't need that. And a lot of other, I know it's quite, some asexuals wear makeup, but others, they don't need it, you know. We look at life a different way. We can sit in comfortable clothes. Those adverts confuse me, if anything. Exactly. You know, and we wear comfortable clothes, you know. We can wear our own clothes because we're not trying to impress anyone. We're not trying to put makeup on. We're not trying to, like, I mean, we might want to do that for ourselves because I sometimes, like, dress up for myself because I like feeling good. You know, I like being good looking. For myself, I know I've gone to the theatre in London before and I've dressed up in really sort of like posh dress, as I call it. Well, pretty dress, like sophisticated dress, like expensive dress. You know what I mean? Like a prom dress type thing. And I go out there by myself to the theatre, you know, and I have a great time and I look good for myself. And I don't even mind being sexy looking for myself. You know, I like to look sexy sometimes for myself. I don't need a guy to validate me. I don't need someone to, you know, but I'm very careful when I say sexy because what I call sexy and what some other women call sexy wouldn't be the same thing. You know, I have to make that clear. I'm not about like spreading myself around. But you know, I think, you know, with asexuals, I think we do tend to, like, if we are preening ourselves a lot of the time or looking good, it's because we want to do that for ourselves, you know. And I think, you know, we can wear a lot more comfy clothes. We can, you know, we can eat loads of food, can't we? Because we're not having sex. If we don't see each other's bodies, you know, and say we do think about our weight a bit, right? But say we like our food, yeah, we don't have so much to worry about because if we're not going to see each other naked, because if we're not going to have sex, what does it matter? You know, maybe people could argue, well, it's for health and fitness, you know, you need to get your body in tone. Yeah, maybe you do. But I mean, some people just love food. I love my food. I met an asexual person as well who usually comes to my meetups, and she's back living in Exeter now. When I saw her, I was giving her hugs. I was like, oh, so nice to see you. She's a really lovely person. And we were talking and she's going, oh, I love my food. I'm going, I love my food as well, because I do love my food, you know. To all intents and purposes, I eat pretty healthy. The only thing I don't eat that's healthy is crisps that are salted, and they're low fat, but I do, you know, and I end up eating late at night because I do a lot of work late at night. Which, like my mum says, really, it's because you eat late at night, Sandra. But when you're doing work throughout the night, you have to keep eating because you have to keep yourself going. You need extra energy. So, you know, but I eat like salads and jacket potatoes and fish and chicken. I don't eat red meat and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm not really eating anything bad for me as such. And I might have occasionally some popcorn if I go to the cinema. But even last time, Oh yeah, did I? Oh, I got free popcorn a while ago. But you know, I'll try and, you know, like get a good variety of, you know, like get sort of a reduced calorie one in that or whatever. But you know, so like the only things I eat that are bad are popcorn or crisps sometimes, you know. It's like not really the end of the world, is it? But I do like my food, you know. And I think when you're asexual, you don't have to worry so much. It's like, it's not like I've got a guy who's going to see my body, because I don't even like being naked in front of a guy anyway. You know, and I do think beauty is all about confidence as well. You know, I think if you're confident in your skin, you know, it's not so much about what your body size is. It's about how you love yourself. It's about, you know, getting out there and having fun, you know. It's about experiencing life. It's about living your best life and being yourself and living your purpose. It's about being you, true and authentic and real, you know. It's, you know, there's loads of people in all different shapes and sizes, you know. There's women who are highly sexual that are really, you know, quite big, but they get tons of guys after them. Why? Because they dress sexily or attractive, they're confident, they love being in their skin, they're dancing around, they're having a great time or whatever, and guys are still attracted to them because it's their personality that wins the day, you know. You can have someone who's skinny as anything, and then, you know, but the guy's like, you know, but she just moans all the time, or she's so like worried about the way she looks every 5 minutes that the guy can't even have a proper conversation with her, you know. And you know, and if he sees her without makeup, he's like, oh, you look ghastly. Do you see what I mean? It's just like, you know, I'm very much natural, you know. My skin's natural. I don't put anything on my skin apart from cream to keep it nice and you know, like stop it drying out. But you know, it's just good to be natural and to be yourself. And I think asexuals tend to be much more natural. I think it's a very good thing. Also, asexual can also tend to be some of the most harshest critics as well. I have to say that is sort of more of a difficulty you can find within the asexual community. I do actually find that some asexuals can be more critical than people outside of asexuality. So, yeah, that makes it hard. Like if you're a newbie and say you're just coming to terms with asexuality, say you've decided, oh, you know, I don't, either you've decided you don't want to be in denial anymore, or you're just going to do some research about it. And if you're met with some hostility within the community because they say, oh, I don't agree with what you're saying, you can't identify as that and stuff like that, that can really put people off actually being in touch with their own asexuality. It can put people off actually saying I'm asexual. And I do notice, you know, I think a lot of the time, sadly, our asexual community can be one of the worst in terms of support. They can be totally unsupportive, some of them. I'm blessed on Facebook to have a lot of supporters, you know. I've got lots of asexual friends. I've got sexual friends that support me on my Facebook. But, you know, you go on the you go on Avon sometimes, asexuality.org, and not everyone's that supportive all the time, you know. You get some people that are very critical, highly critical. And one of my Facebook friends recently, she got criticised. I mentioned in a recent video, she got criticised. You know, asking why, you know, she'd want to get married to her husband if she's an aromantic asexual. I mean, it's just disgusting. And that's from that's from a Facebook support group. She got that. You know, someone saying that. It's not very supportive, is it? Do you see what I mean? So, you know, there are some things that aren't, you know, so good, but on the whole, you know, there's and things that don't help if you're already having problems coming to terms with asexuality is that can make life really difficult. But there are lots of blessings, you know. We see the world in a different way. Where, you know, if someone gave me the choice, do you want to be hetero-asexual or heterosexual, Sandra? I would tell them hetero-asexual every single time. I'm glad I don't like sex. I can't even think of, like, you know, being a heterosexual. I can't think, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't want to be heterosexual. I never would want to be heterosexual. I'm really happy, even though it makes life harder because it's very difficult for me to find a partner, to be in a relationship with it. Even though that, I still don't want to be heterosexual. I just don't, because I guess I don't like sex that much that I would never want to be a person that did like it that much. Do you see what I mean? It's just not natural to me. It's a bit blur, to be honest. And I've always, since I can remember when I was at school, right? Primary school, I was 10 years old, and I can remember thinking there's got to be, that's why I believe in soulmates from 10 years old. I remember I was stood there thinking there's got to be a guy equivalent of me, you know, in terms of loving someone for their personality. I was very young when I started having all this type of thoughts, you know. And I thought, it's got to be someone like me, like the male equivalent of me in that way. And I truly believe there still is, you know. And I just think that, you know, that I've always, even all the time I thought I was heterosexual when I wasn't and didn't realise that, I've always wanted a guy just to love me for my personality, first and foremost, more than anything. And that's why he stays with me. And secondary, likes my looks. Do you know what I mean? I like him to like my looks. I like him to say, oh, you look beautiful and stuff like that. It's really nice. I like compliments. Some asexuals don't. I do. I think it's great. But I want him to love me for my personality first and foremost. Looks can change. But above all, my personality is very, very quirky and different. I've always been different at school and everything. You know, I've never been like one of the crowd, ever. You know, which obviously when you're not one of the crowd, you can get bullied and stuff like that. It's not, you know, as I'm sure that some people who are watching this channel can relate to. I'm sure, like, I've looked in a lot of forums online, you know, I've seen a lot of other asexuals saying that they were bullied at school because they were different, you know? And I really feel where you're coming from. But you have to know that asexuality overall is a blessing because we are different. We're able to see the world in a completely different way. We're able to live, love, and be happy without sex. And that is very rare. And that is a very, very precious gift, you know? There's tons of people not getting their sex that are really upset and frustrated. And we don't have that problem. You know, there's people who can't be faithful in relationships because the sex is just such a need for them. We're not ever going to have that problem, you know, of not being faithful to someone because we need sex with someone else. We can love, you know, we could love someone who's impotent. We could be in a relationship with them because we don't need the sex. We could love someone who's disabled and can't have sex because they've got a disability, and we could still be with them because we don't need the sex. We can love someone who chooses abstinence, because don't forget, asexuality is not choice, chooses to abstain because for sex, for whatever reason, we could be with them and be faithful to them because we don't need sex. There's so many benefits of being asexual. There's so many benefits to someone knowing an asexual, you know. Imagine if an asexual's babysitting for you, you know. They're not going to be perving on your kid or anything. If they're a genuine asexual who hasn't got any sexual problems in their head or anything, do you know what I mean? I can't obviously say that for definite that everyone claims they're asexual is never going to do that, because obviously I can't make claims like this. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional psychologist, psychiatrist, you know. But I'm just saying a disclaimer now, you know, I'm not any of those type of things. I've got no professional qualification in this, you know. I'm just saying as a generality, you know, that, you know, if we're not interested, if any asexual's not interested in sex, they've not got any sexual problems or anything like that, you know, they're not going to take sexual advantage of your child if they don't need the sex. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's a benefit of having someone who's asexual looking after, you know, babysit. I'm not saying that something else couldn't happen and they neglect them in some other way or something else goes wrong, but I'm just saying from the sexual aspect, you know, it's like if you're a school teacher as well, you know, there's a lot of you know, there's a lot of public knowledge about school teachers, vicars, all that type of thing, you know, actually sexually harassing other people, you know. If you're asexual that's a teacher, you know, and you're not into sex, you're not going to go around sexually harassing the children. Do you see what I mean? Kids can be safer around you in that way. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that some asexuals haven't got other problems, like psychological, dangerous problems, because some of them have. Believe me, I've seen some of them. I'm not going to obviously mention any names. I've just seen some of the stuff they come up with, what they say, and they are very, very bad in the mind in other ways. So it doesn't mean to say that just because someone's with an asexual, they're safer in other ways. I'm just saying from the physical, sexual aspect, you know, it's a good thing. I'm just saying some benefits here of being, you know, around asexuals, you know, and it's just, you know, it's just like really good. And I think really the ability to see things that no one else can see and see the world in this completely different way is just incredible, you know. We're different to the norm. When all these advertisers and marketers, you know, think that everything's the same, it's going to work, excuse me, and it doesn't work on us, the advertising. It's just like we're not the same. They can't psychologically blackmail us, if you like. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work on us. So I just think there's so many positives to being asexual, so many positives. And I just think it's a true blessing to be, you know, to be 1% of the population. It's like being an elite group of people, you know. It's like there's, you know, there's hardly any people like us. And in asexuality in and of itself, you know how different we are within it as well, which makes us like incredibly different. The only thing is, obviously, it does make it harder to get an asexual relationship. It makes it harder to get a relationship, obviously, if you know you want to try with a sexual person. That's going to be difficult to sustain and actually have longevity. And also, but it does happen with some people. But if you're sex repulsed and want monogamy, it's a lot harder. But also, it is more difficult to find an asexual that matches as well, especially for I think, you know, for someone like me who's female, when the majority of asexuals are female, you know, I want a guy, that's harder. The majority of asexuals are aromantic, you know, that's harder. But I do think, you know, it's good to have aromantic asexuals, because aromantic asexuals, you know, they don't have the emotions involved where relationships are concerned. They have more logic, and I think that is a good thing, actually. It's very good, you know. Being a hugely romantic person, I can get very emotional in terms, I mean, emotion's good as well, because it means I can empathize with people. I can understand how they're feeling without even them telling me, and that is a gift in all of itself. So being romantic and aromantic, you know, two different things, but we've both got our own benefits to being that way, if you know what I mean. Benefits and not so much benefits, you know. So I think it's really important to like treasure each other's asexuality within the spectrum, and to keep celebrating our diversity, which is obviously really important. This is the final video in Asexual Awareness Week, and you know, I just want to say, you know, keep raising awareness of asexuality, but be proud of it, you know. Stop hiding who you are. You're beautiful in your own right, you know. Asexuals are beautiful. You're magnificent. Funnily enough, there was a thread I saw today where an ace woman asked where are all the ace men. Yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate because the majority of my male friends are asexual males. So I have a female best friend who I've had for absolutely ages. And then I have 3 male best asexual friends. Well, you could say 4 actually. But they're all male. They watch this channel usually. So I've got Levi, Sam, Andy, and Martin. Yeah. And all 4 guys watch this channel. They're all guys. And, you know, I make more and more guy friends because in general I do get on better with guys overall. And I like male company. And, you know, when you're asexual and you're not dating, it's kind of nice to have more male friends as well, because you've got male company. And, you know, there's going to be no sexual innuendo there. You know, there's going to be no sexual energy from them. It genuinely is really good friendship. I mean, of course, they could end up getting feelings for me, or I could end up getting feelings for them. But it's not going to be of a sexual nature. So it's still going to be more comfortable than being around sexuals, you know. And I just love that. I just think it's amazing, you know. And I think that's another good benefit and blessing to being asexual, is if you hang around with other asexuals, you know that you're going to be safer, you know, because you're not going to have a sexual giving you that sexual energy or sexual innuendo. And it's nicer, you know, like say a guy is married to a woman, but the woman has friends, but say her friends are asexual and they're not into sex, the guy doesn't have to worry about that woman having physical affair with an asexual person. You see, the guy hasn't got anything like that to worry about. That doesn't mean to say there can't be an emotional affair though. So just because someone's asexual doesn't mean to say they can't still have an affair with someone, because it could be an emotional affair, if you get my meaning. So you know, don't think that asexuals are completely innocent in that way, all asexuals, because they're not. But, you know, it's really important to know that, you know, being 1% of the population is amazing, because there's not many people like us. We can see the world in a completely different way to how other people see it. People can feel safer in the knowledge of being around us, that we're not going to leech over them, want sex with them, or try to, you know, sexually take advantage of them. You know, we can don't have to worry about our appearance so much, because we're not trying to preen ourselves and get ourselves ready for sex, which a lot of people do. You know, we can kind of hang out in casual clothes and still be really happy with ourselves, because we haven't got that, oh, what do I look like because I've got to have sex soon, and what if this guy doesn't fancy me because he might not like me, because he might think I'm attractive, because, you know, he might not want sex with me and I want sex with him. Do you know what I mean? We don't have any of that rubbish to worry about, to be honest. I call it rubbish because, you know, it's like a person should just be loved for who they are, to be quite honest. And I think that's the whole thing with asexuals, you know. Someone has to love us for who we are genuinely as a person. And if they don't love who we are, then, you know, it's going to be no go, isn't it? And I think we're very strong as well. I think because we're 1% of the population, I think it genuinely makes us a stronger person because, you know, the world doesn't understand us. So we have to understand ourselves better. We have to understand ourselves in relation to the world. And I think, you know, just being different makes us stronger. Like probably a lot of us have had to go through problems in our life more so than some others because, you know, maybe we're tormented as a kid for being different. Maybe we were frowned upon, but those bad experiences have actually made us super strong because you've got to ask yourself the question at the end of the day, okay, that happened, but did you survive it? And the answer is yes, because you're still here today. So whatever went on in the past, however dreadful and horrible it may be, and believe me, I understand that, because I used to suffer depression for years because I didn't have a very great past. It's a very upsetting past. So, you know, but the thing is, you've got to remember, we survived it. We've thrived it. We're living it. We're loving life now. Or we should be loving it. And that's the final message I want to go away with, you know. Just think you're a very, very super strong person. You're amazing. You're unique. You're beautiful. You are perfectly, perfectly asexual in and of your own right. You're absolutely spectacular, you know. You're part of the elite 1%, you know. What does that say about you? You're the chosen ones, you know. You're chosen with this blessing of being able to love, live and be happy without sex. To me, that is truly a blessing. I don't know many people that can say that, you know. I don't know many people that can be truly happy without sex and can love and live and be truly happy without sex. That is a genuine blessing and one which I'm so proud to be a part of. Anyway, I hope you like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for the 2 thumbs up. Don't forget, I am live streaming at the moment on this channel every single day. Yeah, have been doing since the 1st of July. If you're not already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button now. Hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live or post a new video. And until next time, embrace your quirky and each other. Thank you so much for a wonderful Asexual Awareness Week. Thank you so much for being on this asexual journey with me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks, Heather. Thank you, Michael. And thank you to the other person that's been watching me nearly throughout this whole show. Thanks to the other people that have popped in. Really appreciate you. Thanks so much for all the ace love. Thank you for being here. I absolutely adore you. Night, Michael. Really nice to see you. Night, Heather. Night, everyone else. Lots of love. Bye. Take care. Bye.